Welcome to Confident Connections, the podcast that helps you show up with confidence and connect with people on a deeper level. I'm Lisa Liu, and here we break down the small signals that create big impact, body language, presence, and the simple habits that help you communicate with ease, increase your influence, and magnify your impact. You'll learn how to make strong first impressions, build trust faster, and feel more confident in any conversation or setting. If you're ready to improve your communication skills and create connections that move your life and your leadership forward, you are in the right place. I've got a fantastic resource for you that is completely free and is really going to help you, especially if you've ever felt awkward with meeting someone new, or maybe you just want to know how to make the person across from you feel seen, valued, and understood, especially if you've never met them before. Or maybe you just want to get out of the people pile. You want to be memorable instead of just saying, hey, what do you do for a living? Which is what everybody says, totally forgettable. Maybe you want some new ways to engage. This is my How Not to Be Awkward conversation starters, and it is going to span professional and networking events that you may go to, connecting with empathy, and even transitioning into deeper talk. There's also a great little pocket connection card that you can just snapshot to keep on your phone and use right before you head in to a situation where you just want to have some great conversation starters, literally in the palm of your hand and in your pocket. If this sounds interesting to you, I want you to go to lisaluimpact.com/connection. You'll also find this down below in the show notes, completely free to you, lisaluimpact.com/connection. Welcome to Confident Connections. If you have been with me for the past few weeks of talking through the DISC personality, behavioral styles, first of all, congratulations, because that means you understand yourself better, and I hope you also understand those around you a little bit better. Remember, DISC is a language, not a label. You are not only a D or an I or an S or a C. We are all a combination of all of them, but some of them, at least two, and sometimes even three, are the ones that tend to come up the most, or depending on the context and situation, others may come up. And when I say come up, if you and I were doing a DISC assessment together, you would see a midline on your graph, and it's those styles that go above the midline that in that particular context you are acting, behaving, reacting, right? So it's just so interesting. I love this. I love when I get to work with teams that do this, because now they've got a language. They'll be like, oh, you know what? I think I was leaning a little bit too much into my D last week at the meeting. So I'm gonna try and maybe tame some of that assertiveness going forward. It's just this shared language that everybody understands. So today, what I want to do to kind of put a bow on all of this is help you understand those styles that may have the most friction between them. Now, of course, any of these styles can have friction, but who might be more prone to having that kind of friction in a workplace or in a relationship, in a marriage, right? Even, parent-child relationships. When you hear this, I think it's going to open your eyes a little bit and maybe make some of your relationships make a little bit more sense. So first of all, I need to give you a picture in your mind. So think D-I-S-N-C clockwise, but in a quadrant. So D is on the upper left, I is on the upper right. Below the I in the lower right is S, and under the D and to the left of the S is a C. Okay, so D-I from left to right on the top, then under the I is S, and then to the left of the S is the C, D-I-S-C. And putting that in your mind, I think, is helpful, because now you'll know what I mean by the diagonals. So if you've got that picture in your mind, you see that D and S are diagonal to one another, right? They're across in a diagonal fashion, and I's and C's are diagonal to one another. This is important because these can really have a lot of friction with one another, and I want to explain why. So let's think this through. So your D's and your S's, why might that be hard? Well, first of all, remember D's are task-oriented and your S's are people-oriented. So there's number one. D's are tasks. Let's get to it. Let's get to the point. Let's get things done. D's also move quickly, right? They tend to be a bit more outgoing and they move quickly. S's, on the other hand, are very people-driven, very people-oriented, not as task-oriented as a D, and they're more reserved, and they tend to move a little slower, meaning it takes them longer to make decisions. S's don't like being pushed into a corner. Well, D's, they're ready to get things done. So you can already see from that right there, wow, okay, I could see where D's and S's could really have some struggles. Whereas your D's and your C's, they're both task-oriented. Your D's and your I's, they're both outgoing and move quickly. But D's and S's, they're across from one another, which means they're basically polar opposites. Your D's are driven. Your S's are, again, so people-oriented and team-oriented that they don't like being pushed in a corner and they don't like confrontation. D's typically do not mind confrontation, enjoy confrontation at times. Enjoy, can be in a very healthy way, meaning, hey, we get better results if we can have some constructive conflict, productive conflict. But S's may, at their core, especially a high S, that may not be very comfortable for them, okay? If you are married to this person, how interesting. And are you able to just take a step back and go, oh, wow, that's why we have a lot of conflict. That's why they're all moving so fast, or that's why they don't move fast enough. It's literally their wiring. It is how they were created, okay? So let's talk about your I's and C's. This is me and my husband. I am an IS and he is a CS. So we both have that S in common, which is, I think, why we do have a lot of harmony in our marriage now. Early on, not so much. I shared with you that, I struggled early on because I felt like he was always questioning me. And in my heart, I'm like, oh my goodness, do you not trust me? Do you not think I'm competent enough to get this done? But as a C, remember our C's are data driven. They ask questions because they're trying to gather data to form opinions, to get the best results, because they definitely are very analytical and want to make sure they get it right. I's not so much. We're not data driven. We are not detail oriented. And again, I'm typecasting. So we're talking like maybe a high C and a high I, which I'm a very high I. I'm not data-driven. I's are not data-driven. We're very talkative, okay? So let's start from the top. I's typically, always, are going to be outgoing, if you're a high I, outgoing and people-oriented. C's complete opposite, reserved, and they take longer to make decisions because they want to make sure the decision they make is accurate. I's like to tell stories and talk a bunch. C's, again, more reserved, maybe less story-driven, and they're looking at an I going, can you just give me the facts? Like, I don't need the backstory behind this, right? So I wanted to, again, kind of tie all of this with a bow because I want you to understand if there's that person in your office or your home or just a relationship that you have and you're thinking, okay, I heard all these styles the past few weeks. I understand where everybody fits, but man, I'm really, really struggling still with this one individual. I want to give you the why behind why that struggle may be there with them more than somebody else. Now, you may be thinking, what, I'm an I and I have the biggest struggle with a D. Totally plausible. I's and D's, even though they're both outgoing, even though they both tend to move at a faster rate, very different because D's are task and I's are people-oriented. So I just want you to be able to take a step back and say, I don't want you to begin to label anybody. Oh yeah, that person over there, they're just a D. They're always a D. They're always going to be a D. No, they are just like you in that they are a complex mystery, but there's less mystery when we understand how they are wired and that they have all of these styles within them, but there are some that are more prominent in their behavior because it's just how they were made. And thank goodness we're all different. If we had a world full of only D's, man, maybe there would be a lot of results. Maybe things would move fast. Maybe there would be a lot that gets done. But D's typically are not as people wired, right? Not as people oriented. If you had a world full or a team full of only I's, oh my goodness, we're going to have so much fun. We're going to have a party all the time. We're going to be snuggling because we love to hug, right? But man, you know what? We may not get as much done because we're not very detail oriented and we're not very task oriented. You have a world full or a team full of only S's. Things are going to move, you know what, kind of slow. Maybe it's going to take us longer to get to the finish line. And without the results driven and those more outgoing people, you're missing important pieces of a team or a world. What if we have a world full of C's or a team full of only C's? Wow, you're really missing out on those people-oriented I's and S's that make people feel so welcome and love teamwork and love collaboration. And you're missing out on the D's that the short, succinct, bullet points, results-driven is going to help you get across that finish line faster. The point is we all need each other. We all have these different wirings because when we put them together in a marriage, on a team, what an amazing puzzle completed. We can stand back and go, oh, there we go. There's nothing missing now. Of course, in a marriage, there's, hopefully just two of you. But remember, we typically have more than one wiring. My husband and I are missing a D, both of us, on our total profile. He's a CS, I'm an IS, but I think I told you this on an earlier episode. On my middle graph, when I did my assessment, my D goes up under pressure. So that middle graph is me under pressure. And when I'm under pressure, my D goes up, meaning I understand that I have to pull that part of me out so that results happen. If I only rely on my I, results aren't going to happen. So that's why I say be careful to label yourself or anybody else, because when we are healthy within our behavioral styles, we know which arrow to pull out of our quiver. Is it the D? Is it the I? Is it the S or the C? To aim at the target of our goal. What is our goal? What is the mission of the context of what we're in? Is it to have a heart-to-heart with somebody? Is it to have a firm conversation and make sure they understand what the consequences are? Is it to fill them in on all the data because that is what they require to make a decision? Well, now I know which arrow to pull out. Does that make sense? So I hope this helps. I hope this gives you a deeper appreciation and understanding for yourself and for those that you live with, that you work with, that you do church with, that you do volunteering with. I love this. And if you are interested in having an assessment so you are not guessing, so that you understand, wow, how do I respond under pressure? I'm really curious what this shows so that you understand what your natural wiring is. And so you understand the growth that particular style needs, because that's part of what this assessment does. And you also understand your strengths, because it seems to go against maybe what you would normally think, which is, well, let's just work on your weaknesses. No, I actually want to encourage you to work on your strengths. I want you to become more of who you are, not less of who you are. So if you're interested in that for yourself or for your team, you can go to lisaluimpact.com/DISC, DISC, and you can learn all about it. Or you can just go to lisaluimpact.com and you'll find the DISC information on there, and you can see what you need to do for a team or what you need to do for a personal assessment. That's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this series. I really enjoyed bringing it to you. I'm super passionate about it, and I'm also passionate about keeping it as simple as possible. I have no visuals here to show you. This is audio only, and so I could have gone way, way, way deeper, but I want to keep it a high enough level that it gives you a visual, that it gives you kind of some pegs to hang the information on. And that's why I also love DISC, is it's 4. It's not 27, it's not 34, it's not 92, it's 4. So it's a little bit easier sometimes for us to remember. Go back and listen to this again if you need to. If you ever need a refresher, come back to it. And I encourage you to send this episode or any of the prior episodes about what we just covered to a friend, to a spouse, to a teammate, to a boss who needs to hear this. Not because I told you so, but to help them understand maybe the people around them a little bit better. Pretty neat. All right, that's it for now. Thank you so much for being here. It's always such an honor that you spend your time with me, and I can't wait to see you next week. Bye for now.